And now, outside of court, each day, a couple of days trial, he continues that defiance.
I think we'd have been more productive if we'd been on Capitol Hill in front of open mics addressing the nation with exactly all this nonsense, this show trial they've been putting up on Capitol Hill. It's nothing but a show trial. It's time they start having other witnesses that can give other testimony other than what they've been putting up.
Look, you may even agree with that, but he's either guilty or he's not guilty, and the more likely scenario is that he's found guilty because he simply wasn't engaging with them. Could be sentenced. I don't know. The sentence might be 30 days in jail on each count, maybe 60 days total. And then what do you have? He's a bigger martyr to his loyal followers, willing to go to jail to stand up against the system so corrupted. I think that just adds to his brand. Joining me now is Hugo Lowell, congressional reporter for The Guardian. He was in the courtroom for the opening statements of the trial. Hugo, thanks for coming back on the show. Appreciate it. Before I ask you about the trial itself, I think just as much and important is what is happening outside. What do you make of my theory that Bannon knows that he's likely to be convicted and that maybe going to jail just furthers his brand?
Well, I don't know if he's quite prepared to go to jail, but Dan, I think you're right in general that this is bolstering his brand, especially among his own supporters. I mean, he comes out of the courtroom every day, he faces the cameras, and he basically says that the select committee is a witch hunt coming after him and the former advisors to former President Trump. And so this is all about politics, or he's making it all about politics. And if he is convicted, then that just gives him more ammunition to say to his followers, well, you know, this is the deep state and they're trying to persecute me and they're trying to persecute the former president. And so I think his stock then goes up in Trump world and his stock goes up among his supporters. So I think, yes, even if he gets convicted, it could be a win in some ways for him.
It does become a harder argument for him to make about how sort of, you know, he got railroaded by the system when the judge here was not just a Trump appointee, but a clerk for Clarence Thomas. So it does make it harder for him to say the trial was politicized.
I think he's got an answer for that too. I mean, this is kind of classic Bannon, that he has an answer for everything. And his answer here is, look, the judge in this case, Judge Nichols, you know, conceded that he couldn't allow a lot of Bannon's defense arguments because the case law, the precedent governing this thing about contempt of Congress, the controlling case law is at the appellate level, and that Judge Nichols' hands were tied. And so Judge Nichols couldn't allow a lot of Bannon's defenses to come forward in trial. And so Bannon will say, look, I was always going to lose this. If he loses, I was always going to lose this. And it was completely out of my hands. And it just goes to show how corrupt of a judicial system it is, whether or not that is true.
Yeah. What do we know about the jurors who are going to be deciding his fate?
I think it was a pretty interesting jury pool. I mean, they got through about 38 of the 60 potential jurors. They qualified 22, and then they whittled it down to 12 plus 2 alternates. The thing that really struck out to me, Dan, is the fact that a large number of these jurors didn't even know about the January 6th committee's existence, or, you know, they hadn't really been following the hearings. So I think if you're looking for an impartial jury, this is probably as impartial as you're going to get in DC. I mean, Bannon's always been going on about how, you know, the media coverage of the January 6th committee was going to taint the jury pool. It doesn't seem there's very much evidence of that. And as Bannon left the courtroom on the opening day when they were still doing jury selection, he said he think he'd get a fair jury.
Yeah, and I have to say, I've said this many times publicly, that people always say about high-profile cases, we'll never find a fair jury, we'll never find a fair jury. And I always say, you might be amazed how little people are following what's going on in the news. Lives to live. Hugo Lowell,
right,
thank you for coming on. Appreciate it. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.